Why did you choose the career path you did?
Oh, it's such a long, long story, long story. So I say this to people, and it is very true. If you had asked me 10 years ago, or told me, said to me, hey, Karine, in 10 years, you're going to be the White House press secretary, I would have been like, are you kidding? Are you nuts? That's not going to happen. Because when I was a young person, I thought I was going to be a doctor. That's what my parents wanted me to do. I spent my whole, almost like a good, 15, 18 years of my life focusing on becoming a doctor. And when I got to college, I came out of college and I was about to go into a program that would lead me into medical school. I decided I wasn't passionate about it and the MCATs and all the stress that you put on yourself. And so I decided, you know what? I can't do this. And I went to my parents who were incredibly disappointed when I told them that I wasn't going to do that. Just to give you a little bit of more background, my parents are immigrants, and coming from an immigrant household, their whole idea of success was to be a doctor, a lawyer, engineer. And so that's what they wanted me to be, right? To reach that American dream is to be one of those professions. And so they were really disappointed when I decided not to become a doctor. And so I spent like a couple, like a year or two outside of college, and I was like really trying to find myself, like truly trying to figure out what is my passion. And so I decided to go to grad school. I went to grad school, and when I went to grad school, I met mentors. My mentors are so important. One of my mentors was Esther Fuchs, who was a longtime professor, tenure professor at Columbia. Another mentor of mine was also a professor, but he was former New York City mayor, which was David Dinkins, and they encouraged me to go into politics. But even when I went into politics, I didn't get into comms and press for a while. I've only been in comms and press for but the last kind of part of my years. And so I did these things where, okay, I'm gonna go into politics, I'm gonna work on campaign, I'm gonna work for an elected official. And I did that, and I just kept on following my passion. So I tell young people all the time when they want advice, what should they do? And I say, follow your passion. And that's basically what I did. I followed my passion. I followed what I wanted to explore and figure out. Or if there was, again, if there was something that I was like, oh, what is this? Well, let me try and figure out how I learn how to do that particular thing. And so I did this coming to this career, becoming the White House press secretary was a zigzag. It wasn't a straight line. And I also was incredibly shy as a kid. So I grew into myself, if you will. But I came into this career, my White House press secretary career, because I worked for the Obama Biden administration. That's where I had an opportunity to meet Joe Biden. So I knew him since in 2009. He kind of watched me grow, become the person that I am today, and then worked on his 2020 campaign. And then that's how it started to develop for me to become his spokesperson, his press secretary, to be even more exact. And he trusted me. He wanted me to be his voice. He wanted me to represent the administration in that way. And picking somebody to be a White House press secretary is very much a trusted thing, right? It's you got to really believe and trust that person to deliver that message on your behalf. So it's been an honor and a privilege to have been in that role. And I would do it over and over and over again, even though it was so hard, but rewarding. And I was just think about it, the White House press secretary, the spokesperson, the main spokesperson for the president of the United States. That's pretty cool.
That is so cool. So, kind of on that, what education and experiences do you think were most critical in shaping that kind of like zigzagging career?
Yeah, look, I think a lot of it is putting yourself out there, talking to people, doing different jobs, because all the different jobs that I had gave me skills to feel like I was ready to be in that role, be a White House press secretary. It takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of grit, it takes a lot of, research, talking to people, reading in, like you have to know everything about a policy or an issue. It is really informing yourself. And the more you know, the better that you are. And relationship building with reporters, with journalists, and other people in the comms press world. So it's a lot of work. And all of that comes within the years that you do the job, right? It just comes to you. And then you have to really lean in. And I think that's truly important too.
Could you like describe like a hardship or challenge you had to overcome in that?
I mean, look, I think one of the hardest things to overcome is your own security and confidence, right? Believing that you can do something. Because the reality is, not everybody's going to believe in you. right? Not everybody's going to think that you can do something. And in order to get there, in order for other people to look at you and be like, oh, I see her doing that job, is you have to have the confidence in yourself. And sometimes we can get in our own way. And so if you're able to really dig deep inside and tell yourself, I got this, have a mantra for yourself. You can do anything, right? You're built to do anything. You're just as smart as anybody else. Whatever that mantra is to build that confidence, I trust me, you'll be able to get that done. You'll be able to do whatever job it is that you want to do, or whatever uphill battle, thing that you got to get over, or hurdle you have to jump over. You'll get to it. I promise you, you'll get to it.
So, as the first ever Black female White House press secretary, how do you think being a woman has changed or maybe altered your experience and career? Do you think
Yeah.
it's made it more difficult or just different?
I think, look, I don't think it's difficult at all. If anything, being a woman has been an asset. And that's how I see my life. And being queer, being Black, being a woman is an asset because it gives me different ways to see and understand the world, and also to talk how to talk about difficult issues because I come from these very diverse communities. And so if for me, it has not gotten in the way, and maybe it's a problem for other people, but it's not a problem for me, right? I use it to my benefit. And I think if any of you have ever watched me at the podium behind the lectern as White House press secretary, you could see, I think, you could see me when I'm talking about a difficult issue, I can speak to it because of my personal experiences. Because I know what it's like to do X, Y, and Z, or to be part of this community, or to be a mom, whatever it is, or to be a woman. And I think it gives me, or it gave me the advantage to really lean in on a topic, to really open up the conversation a little bit and draw people in and be authentic
A lot about like experience, right? So, what do you think is one like unique or interesting maybe experience you've had in your career?
Well, media experience or experience for me that I've had, I mean, I can't think of one particular unique experience. I think that everything that I've done has been so unconventional. I am an unconventional person in everything that I've done. And so I bring the uniqueness. I bring a different view, a different way of looking at things. And so that has been, I think, everything that I've done. Somebody said to me when I was White House press secretary, and I thought it was really true. And it was hard at the time to really take that in. And they were like, Karine, every day you wake up and you go to the White House, you go to that podium, you're making history every single day, every day. And so to me, that is kind of the uniqueness of me, of the experiences that I've had. I helped to change how something is viewed. And I think that's pretty special. I'm very proud of that.
That is so cool. So, kind of in like such a big position, how has your work like impacted your community or like the world as a whole?
Well, I hope in a better way. I hope that, so the thing that I tell people is when I was in the press briefing room, it wasn't just the people in the briefing room that was paying attention or waiting to hear what was being said. It wasn't just here in this country domestically, it was around the world. And when that briefing is televised, it is a lesson in democracy. It is a lesson of freedom of the press. And I got to play a role in that, right? I exercise or executed those very important things that are the fabric of who we are. And that is incredibly important. And it was coming from someone who looked like me. Because when you're in the jobs, you're kind of living in a bubble and you don't realize the impact that you're having because of what you represented or how people see you and how much you're making a difference in that way because you're speaking on issues that matter. And so because you belong to those communities, those issues that matter to them, those people feel seen, if that makes sense. And so that was a unique and important critical part of the whole process. It's not just about me being the White House press secretary. It's about exercising in democracy, respecting freedom of the press, and showing leadership from the US, from the White House to the world on what that looks like and how critical and important it is to have that.
That is so cool. Kind of on that, what are your career goals, if any, and what kind of message do you kind of intend to spread with your work through that?
Yeah, so I really, I'm no longer White House press secretary, and I'm really wanting to figure out what's next. I'm very excited about that. Whatever I do next, where my career leads me, I want to make a difference. I want to continue to speak for people who are vulnerable, who feel like they don't have a voice. But let me tell you, everybody has a voice. But I know there are folks who need to be encouraged a little bit more, and to know that they do have a voice and they can make a difference. And that's what I want to do. I want to continue to make a difference. I want to continue to make sure that I'm moving the needle just a little bit more to make people's lives better. And that's the hope for my continued career.
That is incredible. So, kind of final question here.
Yeah.
What advice do you have for young girls striving to make a difference in their community or maybe who want to go into politics themselves?
Let me tell you how impressed I am of you, my friend, interviewing me, doing this project, empowering women, young women like yourselves. I think this is it, right? This is it. Lean into what you are passionate about. Lean into it. Don't run away from it. And if you do that, if you lean into what you're passionate about, you're going to wake up every morning feeling good about the work that you're doing. And it's so critical. We need your voice, right? We need projects like this. And even though we've made history, I've made history, broke the glass ceiling, we had a vice president, the first woman vice president, there's still more to be done. We need to be represented and seen in so many other sectors of different industries, right? And we have to continue to fight for our voice. So you doing this is so important. And I hope you, and I know you yourself, are an inspiration to young girls. And that's so special. That's so special. So you're doing it. You're doing it. Keep doing it. Keep doing it, And so thank you. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Oh my gosh, you're the best.
Oh no, you're the best. Thank you for truly, truly
yeah.
for doing this. This is fun.
Gosh, before we go, do you have like any other questions or?
No, I think, I think we're living in a time that's a little scary. And not even a little scary, a lot scary for so many people. And right now, we really have to think about our humanity and what we want to define that, how we want that to be. And the only way that we can protect other people is to stand together, that we can continue to see our humanity forward, is to protect each other, stand with each other, and continue to fight and not stay silent. And I know that's really difficult. It's very, very scary. And I truly believe we got this. We have got this. And there are so many beautiful people across the country in different communities who truly love and care about others. And that gives me hope. That gives me hope. So let's stay hopeful. Let's make sure we take care of each other and don't give up.